this is how I would learn an opening, and I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do, and hopefully you will then know how to use GChess so you can learn openings. So first of all, you have to go to the website. I find that always helps. I'm going to make myself a bit smaller here. I feel like I'm taking over most of the screen, and this is the home page. And I'll tell you a little bit about GChess as we go on, because we haven't had much of a chance to talk about it. GChess, the home page has been redone, and we've taken on all feedback that you've been saying at home, you know, that you've given us, and we want to have bad feedback, we want to have good feedback. And the first thing was, there's a lot going on, so we're redoing the front page, and we're going to make it so when you come to GChess in future, you'll be able to step through and basically be taken by the hand, and you'll be able to know what you're doing, because sometimes, because there's so much good information on GChess, it's a little bit hard to navigate. Now you can either click on this big button here, or you can go to the explore bit. Now the bit above explore is actually something else. I've just put that there. Let's click on the big button. Everyone likes a big button, don't they? I love a big button. Do you love a big button? You know, and we're just gonna now go onto the site, and this is basically the site. Now this is my video, so let's put my video somewhere where I'm out of the way, and we're going to try and look at everything on the board here. I have prepared another, I don't know if it's easier to look at it like this, but I think we'll use the whole screen layout like this. Let's put me in the middle. Now this is what you get with GChess when you're registered. You get the board. It can be viewed differently on different screens. This is how it looks on my screen. Much better on desktop at the moment, I'll be honest. It is quite cool on mobile, but I recommend you use this on desktop to learn openings. Kempo is saying he likes big buttons. We all like big buttons. Who doesn't like a big button? I even found a big button around here. Sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? But it's not, it's just a button. Don't know where it is now. So before I talk about how you use these tabs and how we're going to use them to learn an opening, and again, I understand this stream might be a bit slow going for some of you, but it is supposed to be an educational stream. I'm not going to apologize for that. If you want something quick and fast, turn on the Kardashians or something, you know, or watch one of my Blitz YouTube videos. And what we got here, okay, so I'm going to tell you what opening we're going to look at first of all, and why I've picked this opening. Now I'm okay generally, this is again mainly for me, but you're going to learn as well. Mainly when I have the white pieces, I do okay. I'm quite happy with the white pieces, so we're not going to be looking at an opening from the white point of view. I play d4, c4 and e4. I recommend for you guys at home, unless you're over 2200 at least, you just stick with one opening you learn, you know, because if you try learning too many openings, you're going to get confused, and it takes ages to master one opening. So we're not looking at the white openings. So I'm going to flip the board because I want to look at it from the black side. I always think you should look at it from whatever perspective you want to, you know, you want to learn it from. And now there's two main moves you really need to learn an opening against, d4 and e4, and you've really got to have an opening against both of these, otherwise, you know, learn something. Now d4, funnily enough, I'm very happy playing the Dutch. I do play e6 first. I do understand you can get a French defense here if they go e4, but the amount of times people go d4 and then e4 is under 1%, so I'm not that worried about getting a French defense here. And what I normally do is, after any move, I play f5, I get a Dutch defense, and I'm very happy in these positions. So we're not going to be learning anything against d4 today. But for a long time, since I was a kid, after the move e4, and let's promote that line, I've always wanted to learn an e5. I've always wanted to learn how to play e5, and amazingly, even though I'm a grandmaster and I've played competitions for most of my life, I've never really played e5. I've only started to play it recently because of a course I did alongside Blair, who's in the chat, and Club Players Dynamite, a very interesting course. And I've started to learn e5 by making that course with Blair, and that I'm very proud of that course. It's a very good course, and a course I'm very happy with. But I wanted to, in that course, now whenever you're trying to learn a new opening, the way I see it is you should always start with the main lines. So I'm not going to be looking at King's Gambits, I'm not going to be looking at d4s, I know kind of what to do against them. I want to start with the critical moves that I'm going to face. And knight to f3 is the critical move that you're generally going to face. And after knight to f3, I'm going to be playing the main move, and that's knight c6, because I want to learn a main line opening. This, I'm sure you all notice. And after this move, I'm actually very happy against bishop c4. Bishop c4, I'm happy to face. Why am I happy to face this? Because I learnt in the Club Players Dynamite, which is actually up here at the top. There's many tabs. Basically, try to follow my mouse if you're not sure what I'm looking at on the screen. I'm moving it about. I'm going to go to these tabs a bit later, but generally against the Italian, I still call it the Ruy Lopez, but the Italian, I'm very happy because of a suggestion that Blair told me about. And that suggestion is knight to f6, and after the main move d3. Again, I'm not worried about the other moves. I know good responses against them. I'm trying to learn an opening at my level, Grandmaster level, very high level. And I do have some knowledge already. But after d3, this h6 move that Blair told me about, and the idea of this is to play g5 like a black line. So if you like the black line opening, this is something which is quite familiar to it. Why do I call the Italian the Ruy Lopez? Because they're both similar structures. And I'm dyslexic, so I get a bit confused with names. I work on images, and I don't really care what the name of an opening is. It's not going to help me play better if I know that something's called the boomerang, or if it's called Billy wants to go down the shop opening. I don't give a damn. It's the images I want. And when I look at the Italian, I look at the Ruy Lopez, and I think they're both similar structures. And that's why I sometimes call them the same. But of course I am wrong doing that. But I'm very happy with this h6 move, and the reason for that is I go g5, and this was an idea that Blair told me about. It's in the Club Players Dynamite Chessable course, and it's in the tab on GChess, but I'm not going to go there because we're not concentrating this now. I'm just going through my thought process. The idea is that after some move like c3, you often play g5 in this position, and you get a very exciting game. And I'm very happy with this line at the moment. So bishop c4 I'm not worried about, but bishop b5, and okay, this is the proper Ruy Lopez, is what you're going to get most of the time. It's maybe one of the most important positions in chess. And up to this point in time, whenever I've had this, only on about 3 occasions, I've always played knight ge7, which is the Cosio, again because it's in my Club Players Dynamite. But I wanted to learn another opening just because I feel that I've always wanted to learn a main line in the Ruy Lopez. I wanted to learn something that's main line. And the other reason that I wanted to learn the opening I'm going to show you now, which is called, I call it the Archangel, just because I don't know how it's pronounced. Promote line, by the way, if you right click, you can see that the lines in black are the lines I want to see because they're the main lines. So I just right click and I promote it so it turns black, and you can see I've already promoted this, so it's in bold, so we know we can see it, which I'll do in a minute. So with knight ge7, that's something we could look at, but I'm just going to get to the position first. And I would like to say these tabs at the top here are the most important ones, but we'll get there in a minute. Now I have been interested in learning f5, as Gartholomew is saying, but the thing is, I honestly feel that f5, I'm playing the Cosio, which I really like. I don't want to play another sideline. I want to learn a more main line. And I know that f5 with correct play is supposed to be a bit better for white. It's a very interesting opening, but I want to learn something I want to have forever. I don't want to learn a slightly dodgy opening. because I feel that when I play e5, I want to get a good solid position. I play the French defense, I play the Sicilian, I play the black line, I play all these other openings, but they're very risky. I want something a bit more solid, believe it or not. And after bishop b5, and people are saying it's a mental opening, it is quite a mental opening what I'm about to show you. Well, I don't know, I don't really know much about it. Actually, I don't know, is it mental? I was recently recording a course, my latest chessball course, with all the top, well, it's called Best of British, and I was recording it with some of the best players who have ever played chess in Britain. One of those players was Mickey Adams, who's the best British player of the 21st century. Mickey Adams has been, well, if you haven't heard of Mickey Adams, what the hell have you been doing? And Mickey Adams, in this course, you should go and check it out. It's a really nice course. It's a way to learn from the top players. I was presenting the course with these top players, learning about their forts. And one of the games in that course, Mickey played with the black pieces. The opening I'm going to share with you now, and it was one of his favourite games of all time. He beat Ho Yifang in a beautiful attacking game. And I was chatting to him about it, and I thought I really like the look of that opening, because that's what you do, isn't it? You see an opening you like the look of, and you're like, ooh, juicy, I might learn that one. And you try to learn that opening. And that's what I did. I liked the look of it. It looked aggressive. It looked solid at the same time. And I thought, Mickey, I might have a look at this. That's what we're going to do today. And the opening we're talking about here is we first of all play a6. And someone was asking what the promote line does. Well, you right click on this because you can see it's in the sideline. And I just want to promote it so it becomes bold. Simple as that. The bishop, I'm not worried about taking on c6. That's not the main line. I'm only going to start by learning the main line first. And the main line is the bishop coming back to this square. Bishop back to a4. And now knight to f6. So we're still playing the main line Ruy Lopez. You develop a piece, you attack the pawn here. And now the main line here is white castles. And in this position, the main move, and the move we're going to be concentrating on, is b5, so that white can't take the knight and take the pawn here, so that we gain space on the queen side. And we're going to do that here. This is all theory. This is all theory being seen before. And now the bishop doesn't have any choice. It comes back to b3, and now we get our first sort of position which can go on different angles. Now the main Ruy Lopez and the traditional Ruy Lopez, the opening that has been around for hundreds of years, I was going to say thousands of years, but I think I'm pushing it, is bishop to e7 in this position, right? This is the main line Ruy Lopez. This is the move that you see in thousands of games, millions of years. But the move that I want to concentrate on is the move that Mickey played, and that is this move, bishop c5, and this is the starting position, and this is all I know. I don't know anything else here, guys. This is all I know, except that Mickey Adams game, which was like this. This is what is called the new Arkhangelsk variation, because I can't pronounce whatever I put in the title. And I have seen, because I commentate on a lot of chess, lots of top players starting to play this. So I've seen Magnus Carlsen, Mickey Adams has played it, my good friend Gwen Jones, one of the most talented players in England, and I've seen lots of people play this, and Vidit has played this. And the idea of this is you still get quite a solid position, but it's more aggressively placed on c5. The bishop is attacking white's king, and it's just a more aggressive square for the bishop. Now, of course, there are downsides. What are the downsides? We're putting the bishop here. And again, I'm looking at the chat, so I'll be asking you questions when I'm trying to learn myself about the downsides of this move. Well, the downsides of this move is, and again, try to think for yourself. This is the kind of way you should be thinking when you're learning any opening. You've got to think for yourself as well. Selfish, well, you got kind of the right idea. XX selfish. One of the problems is that, well, if white goes c3 and d4, which is one of his main breaks, imagine that pawn going there, the pawn on d4 will be attacking the bishop. So white's going to be winning a tempo on the bishop. The other downside, as GGGCCC has pointed out, when white moves this pawn, white will be able to put the bishop on this square, and that will be pinning the knight to the queen. If the bishop was on e7, then that wouldn't be a pin. So it is a little bit more risky, but it's more aggressive, which I like. I'm an aggressive player, so I want a solid open and aggressive. So literally, here we are, and this is the start of my stream today. It's literally this position. I don't know anything else about this opening, and I want to learn how to play this opening with black. Okay, with GChess. So you guys can do the same in any opening you come across with this website I've developed, GChess. And can you play out the moves why they're bad? Well, I mean, there's no bad moves here. It's just, you just got to think of concepts, right? The bishop is here. So when white gets a pawn to d4, and one thing I don't like always doing is moving the pieces, because one of the biggest skills you have to learn in chess is visualizing. You know, if you're playing a game of chess and you're trying to work out a tactic, you can't just move the pieces around, be like, hang on a minute, mate, just stay there, and then start moving the pieces on the board and be like, I'll be done in a minute, yeah, I'll go there, he goes there. No, you can't. You have to do it in your head. So try to visualize that. You know, that's what you need to do. And the point is, when the pawn goes to d4, white's going to gain a tempo. When the bishop goes to g5, it's pinning the queen. Just principles. So now we come and look at my mouse here. I don't know how to make the mouse bigger, otherwise I would, but it's that thing zooming around the screen. Now we're going to go to this side over here, and I'm going to show you what these tabs at the top mean, because they are damn sexy and useful. And these tabs over here are the things you use to get better. So the first tab, which is not relevant here, is live tournaments. So this tab is live tournaments. We don't have any live tournaments going on at the moment, so that is like you can watch live tournaments. Now, the one thing I would like to say, which was something which Bjorn came up with the idea of, he's a genius, is anything that's got the orange dot. Yeah, you see the orange dot. I hope this works now. This is the first time I tested GChess Learning Opening, so it better damn well work. Is that anything with the orange dot means that there's information in that category about this position. So I'm going to use any of those orange dot categories to learn about this opening. So look for the orange dots. So, but I will go to the next tab just so you know what they are. This one's the big G, and you can see it's GingerGM courses. So GingerGM's the I say DVD, but video company I run. And in this position, we don't have any video courses on this. So you can see there's a message saying no GingerGM courses here, hence why I haven't learnt this before. Now the next tab, really, really cool tab. This is basically had the inspiration from this. And again, me, Bjorn, JT, Andreas, others have created GChess for the one fact that I want to be able to use this to get better, and I want everyone else to have something they can use to get better. When I was learning chess as a kid, internet wasn't around. I don't know if I've got one. You used to have these big bloody ECOs. Can you remember them? Anyone old enough to remember them? ECOs were big books which had lists of opening in trees, and you go and have a look and you'd be like, oh yeah, page thing. And basically now, because everything's electronic, we've managed to create that. They were like doorstops, weren't they, JT? We've put that basically in electronic form on our site. So this one here, which you can see, is our encyclopedia. So if I click that one there, and you can see now it has in this position 3 searches on this position. So you just click it again, very simple, and it brings up 3 different variations there. But you can click the thing that is in bold, and you can see here it's called the Ruy Lopez, and we actually have a little system of how we've basically marked up the system thanks to JT on this. We've given each opening a little bit of history. This is not relevant for me learning because I don't need this, but if you're new to the game, it might be relevant. So this encyclopedia, and this is basically, you can put any position on the chessboard and we have basically, I say basically a lot, don't I? I've got to stop doing that. Grandmasters, mainly grandmasters, have been working on the encyclopedia on their own, and this is unique work that you won't get anywhere else. And our team of grandmasters over the last 2 years have been building up in this bit here. I'm just going to put one on. I'm going to put the first result on, A4. And they've been putting all of these variations together. I'll move me out the way so we can see the variations. And they've been creating all of these variations for the benefit of everyone out there. So you can now look at the variations, grandmaster analysis, and this is just one tool that we've got. And for example, this I think was done by Grandmaster Danny Gormali, this work here. And the one thing I can see straight away, and I don't know anything about this opening, but I'm just using my mind, and if you follow my mouse, this is how I'm thinking. I can see that A4, you can see this move A4. This looks like the main line that white's going to play, so I probably need to learn A4 first. Other lines, I'm just looking at down here that I need to learn. C3 with the idea of going D4. That looks like the next one, and there's 2 variations on that. But there's also loads of side lines. So I'm going to come back to this a bit later on, but I'm just going to talk through the tabs first so you know how to use them if you want to use this as well. And then I'm going to go into actually using it myself. Now the next tab, and all you have to do is hover over the tab to see what they are, is basically, and I'm going to click on that tab now, and this is our database of games that have been played, and this was based on ChessBase. ChessBase had their mega base, really useful stuff. They have games collections that are played in tournaments which you can go through, and whenever I'm learning chess, I like looking at the top games of top players to see how they played a position. And this has, I think, about 2 million games in it, this tab here. And the average rating of those games is 22-25, so they're all very good players. 22-25 ELO, not lead chess, which is a lot harder. I nearly got to 2800 lead chess, and I'm clearly not 2800 over the board. And here we've done a tree diagram which we think is incredibly useful. So now again, I'm already getting a little bit of information, because about this position, which I know nothing about, I know that the 2 main moves are A4 and C3. Now, why are these two of the main moves? Well, A4 I can understand, right? Because white wants to take this pawn and win my rook, wants to get a little bit of pressure on the queen side. That's why that's a main move. And the other main move, C3, I can understand because white wants to get the center. But one thing I've already learning from the week in chess is that C3 has been played many more times. So C3, by the 2-to-1, we can see the amount of times it's been played. By 2-to-1 is actually the move I want to play. I also see D3 is coming a lot, but we're looking at the percentages, and it looks actually like A4 has scored the best. And I'm just looking at all the possible moves that white can play. So I can come back to these later on, but I'm just explaining how the tabs work. Now, a very important feature that we're going to make more clearer is the fact that you can, this opening tree, you can click that. We've left it on opening tree for now, but you can click that, and this will just show a list of the top players who have played this position. Fabiano, and I told you Magnus Carlsen has played this. I'll click on these things later on to show you how they work. If you go here, you can see the information on it, and you get a little rundown of the things. But I'm going to put the tree back on because I find this more useful at the moment. Okay, the next tab, and I'm just going through them one by one. This is online games. So this one has, I think, literally about 8 million online games played on chess.com and lead chess. And again, this one, we don't have a tree at the moment. We'll make that, but you have games of the top players. Now again, I'm going to be honest, I'm thinking of myself, how can we improve things? I'd love to get your feedback. If you ever want to get feedback, you press the little orange thing here and you can send us feedback, because we do listen to everything we want to improve. I'm thinking here actually, it'd be nice to list this in a better way, I'll be honest. but we can still see already. I can have a look how Hikaru played this position. When was it played? 2020, and we'll go into the information there a bit later. But it's going to get much cooler now. All of the tabs are cool. Now the next tab, this is something we've just added, and this for me as a professional chess player is one of the most useful tabs. We've just gone into partnership with New in Chess. Now New in Chess are without a shadow of doubt the leading magazine in chess and the leading people who create opening articles in chess. They have been for how many years? 30 years? Something like that. And what we've done now, we've done a deal with them, and we are the only site, GChess is the only site in the world that electronically has their yearbooks on their site. So I'm really excited about this. We haven't got all their yearbooks up. JT in the chat might be able to tell you how many we've got. I don't know if he's still there, but we do have a number of yearbooks, and we're going to be adding more and more and more. And you can see here, you can see the year of the yearbook. Now I'm going to go into these more deeper because remember, I want to learn about this opening, and there's 2 opening articles here on this position. Now these yearbooks, they've only been in written form. This is the first time they're electronic since I was 10 years old, so they've been going on for at least 30 years, probably longer, 50 years. Since I was a lot younger, these yearbooks have been my best way of learning opening articles. I've won loads of games by having the latest yearbook, but now you can access these yearbooks quicker. And the problem with the yearbooks in written form, let's say you want to find this position, you want to find an article on this position, I have to go through all the yearbooks looking at the index in all of them till I find it. Now you find the article, boom, like that, straight away, bang, in your face, because you put the position on the board and the article comes up. So it's quicker. Okay, there you go. Bjorn has a bit of information there. So 256 articles, but we're going to be bringing a lot more in. And remember, we're trying to make all this better. Now the next thing up here is YouTube videos. Now this is one cool thing. YouTube video, if I know there's going to be things here because it's got the orange dot, so I'm going to press search, and I've had this position before, have I? Really? And this one lists YouTube videos in this position, and we think this is so cool. This took us some really clever algorithms, thinking money to design. And the thing with this is that you can put a position on the board and it will find the YouTube video of that position. Let me just have a look at the GingerGM one, because I honestly can't remember doing this. I'm worried this is not going to work now. Can't believe Ben Feingold's there. Boo! Okay, let's just see if I've had this position before. That's not me. This is not. Is that me? Wesley. Oh, look at this. I didn't even know I've done this. Let's just see. Okay, let's see what video comes up. I'll make it big screen. I'll shut the hell up here, because you know what? The best way of learning anything is with a video, because you can just sit back and just chill. So let's have a look at this. So I'm just going to play this, and we're just going to, just because remember I'm learning this opening, I'm taking my time going through everything today. Today is not a quick fix. I want to learn this opening. I'm going to leisurely do it. I might even get a cup of tea soon. So let's press play, and I'm going to make this big screen. C5 straight away. And this has its positives and negatives. The bishop is more active on this square, but it's going to get hit with d4 tempo, and the pin on g5 can be more painful for black. Therefore the standard bishop e7 is this has been like a position that's been around for centuries, maybe one of the oldest openings out there, and the most. Okay, angel putting the bishop on c5. You can play b5 first and do that, or bishop c5 straight away. And this has its positive. So there wasn't much in that video there about that. Let's check out one more. Anyone in the chat, what channel should we check out about this video? What channel should we check out? Come on, someone tell me. Who do you like? I know someone's going to say Benjamin Feingold, aren't they? We've got Chess Dojo, Danny King. I like Danny King because Danny King is very educational, and I want to learn this at a high level. He's better for the high. And John Bartholomew is brilliant. And yeah, GingerGM, watching GingerGM. I'm gonna go Danny King. I'm gonna go Danny King on this one, just because he's one of my favourite. By the way, we can, just in case you're wondering, We have many different board styles here. Lots of people don't like this board style. So you can see if you just click the 3 dots below the board, you can change the board style. And let's have a look. This is the standard Wikipedia one. You can go for our own design. It's quite funky. Not sure what I think of that one. It's good, but that's our own one. We can go for many different designs here. And I don't know, which one do we like? I quite like that one, actually. That's quite a nice design, isn't it? Should we go for that one? Let's go for that one. Should we go for that one? The answer, I'm hoping Bjorn's going to be able to answer some of your questions in the chat. 'Cause remember, I'm trying to learn this opening. I'm going to stick with this board. I quite like this one, actually. The answer is yes to most of the questions, but you just got to work out how. This is a nice board, right? So you can change the board to your own design. Of course you can. Now, I'm just going to see what Danny King says about this opening, because I'm just interested to maybe hear like 1 minute. So let's just put Danny King video on. And remember, the clever thing about our YouTube search is you put the position on the board. You can't do this any other way, and it finds that position in YouTube. Now imagine if you wanted to look at, let's say, a particular position in the Dutch, and you wanted to find a YouTube video of that. If you didn't have this tool, you wouldn't be able to find it on YouTube. You'd have to go through thousands of videos. This makes it quick. Boom. So let's have a look at Danny King. He's got a couple of videos here. Let's just go for the first one, and I'll make it big so we can see.
C5. Now, an enormous number of games have been played in this variation over the past few years. It's a very forcing line, actually. Of course, the bishop takes a very aggressive stance. The problem is it can be hit back by the d pawn. So, you know, it's a trade-off. You put the bishop to a more aggressive square, but you lose time as well. A4 also is a little bit uncomfortable for black, because it means that white can take the open file. So d4. And this b pawn is now rather weak. And as black hasn't castled yet.
Okay, so you get the idea of the YouTube search thing, yeah? And again, if I wanted to just look at this position, I could literally just go and watch many videos in this position to get a good overview. But we're not quite done yet with all the different ways you can learn about this opening. And again, follow the mouse. We're only on YouTube, and you see the resources that are available to learn an opening. They're quite phenomenal. I can take my headphones off now, can't I? And the next one is the shortened suites. So the shortened suites are basically chessable shortened suites. So obviously I now work, well, I've kind of always worked for Chessable since the thing, but we've now got, I think, nearly all the chessable shortened suite chapters up here. Now you can watch them obviously on the Chessable site, but this is another way you can do it. And I can see that I have 2 hits on this, so I can look, if I want to, at these different people's shortened suites to get a good introduction to it. And I can just click them. Whenever I click something, you see it adds it to the board. So I think that is basically all the resources. But now I'm just going to think, how am I going to learn about this first? And I actually think that the shortened suites for me, and again, I want to learn this opening, the shortened suites are probably how I'm going to first learn about this opening. Why is that? Because they're called short and sweet for a reason. It's like an introduction. Before I go into the deep theory of this, I want to learn the short and sweets. Now, there's 2 authors I can look at, and I'm going to go for Sefer Rahman, because I remember commentating with him, and I know he's a bit of a theoretician. And I'm just going to literally have a look. And basically, all you do to load these things to the board, like I just did, you just click it, and it will load it here. And you can see, again, follow my mouse, that I already have a number of PGNs that I've loaded. So this is the original position I was wondering about. The next one is the ECO. Let's get rid of that one for now. We can always bring it back up. To get rid of something, I just go down here and I hit the bin thing. The next one is, this is the other short and sweet one, but I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want to over complicate my thing. But this one is what I want to look at first. So, okay, I'm going to go through the opening moves just to see. I can read this as I go along. So you've got the PGN there, you can read. I think it's nice and clear. And we can click through with the keyboard or the mouse. Let's use the mouse. But we already know the starting system. I don't need to go over the opening moves again. I want to get to my critical position. And my critical position, well, Sepharaman shows the alternatives here, which could be useful later on. But not for now, because I want to learn this main position. And the main position comes about bishop c5. And you can see we have a lot of text here which you can read. We might need to paragraph this at some point, but we think it's quite clear. And I don't know the history of this, so I'm just going to read it out loud. Remember, I'm trying to learn. The system is called the Moller, or also I'm going to call it the Moller because that's easier to pronounce variation. It's a great response to Ruy Lopez and one of the best ways for black to fight for an advantage early on, without leaving white with a free hand in the center. It's also very popular at present time because it meets the desires of many grandmasters for active play with black, and it's much livelier than the other lines. It's been played. I remember Shirov being one of the big players who played it, one of my favorite players. Anand has played it a lot as well. And in the original Archangel variation, it says that instead of bishop to c5, it says that bishop to b7 is the original way this was played. Okay, that's interesting to know, but we're going to stick with our bishop c5 move. Go back there, put that on the board, as this is what I'm trying to learn. And I'm just going to see what it tells. So I'm getting an overview of this, getting a bit of information from an expert here already. And it's played. Okay, the modern system has developed as a mixture of both. Okay. Let's see what else. After a4, we want to play rook b8. Okay, that makes sense, so I don't get hit there. Reaching the starting point of starting position. Another line is the more traditional c3 line. That's what Danny King was just looking at, so that's also interesting. This first occurred in Lothanol Morphy. So Morphy played this. It's always nice to play an opening that Morphy's played. And this is in 1859. Okay. The words of my favourite former world champion Alexander Alekhine in his tournament book about this opening. He describes the following in his annotations to the game. This move, suggested in 1908 by Danish master Müller, is in my opinion much better than its reputation. And in fact, Alekhine has employed, I'm going to call it the Müller variation, with decent success. Decent success doesn't sound great, does it? You know, what does that mean? Decent success. Shouldn't he be saying he's played it with great success? When he says decent success, that means, I mean, decent's not a very powerful word, is it? That's like saying he played it with variable success. He could be saying he played it with great success. So okay, I'm still confident in it. He also goes on to say Fabiano Caruana is one of the most notable players to have played this, so he's got a good history. Okay, now many tip. Let's have a look at the tip here. So it's nice to learn little tips. There's a tip. Many people would have been perplexed about the difference with 5 bishop c5 first and b5 first. So what do you play first, b5 or bishop c5? Well, I don't really know this. The difference between bishop followed by the line bishop c5, c3, b5, white can move the bishop to c2. Aha, that makes sense. So I'm already learned that the move order is quite important. So if we go back to this position, I'm learning that I should play b5 here, because if I play b, and by the way, if you're wondering what tab I'm on, just look at the top right. Yeah, we've got information here. I'm starting with the Chessable short and sweet because I want to get a nice overview, simple overview of the opening. I'm going to go into more depth later on. So b5 should be played because if I start with bishop c5, it's now become clear that white can play c3, and if I try to get the same position, the bishop can go here, and that gives my opponent more resources. Hence why I should start with the move b5. So I'm already learning stuff already, and I should start with b5 because the bishop goes there. Bishop c5 is what I want to play. Okay, interesting. So that's a nice little overview there. So now it looks like, as this is only an introduction, that we're going to learn what happens with the main line after c3. And the note says here, a4 is possible, but remember this is only an overview of the opening. So let's just have a look at c3. Now again, when I'm trying to learn an opening, I want to learn the plans for me and for my opponent. It's pretty clear what the move c3 is trying to achieve. It's trying to go d4. So how am I going to deal with this? Okay, so I played d6. So I'm trying to memorize this as I go. Why am I playing d6? Because it guards my center and consolidates things, and my bishop can move out. Okay, there's nothing I can do about d4 anyway. Now the main line, let's just have a look at this game, is a4. It looks like this is a very important idea for white, because white wants to hit my pawn on b5, make that pawn weak, and create problems on the a file, opening his rook up. And here, rook b8, acknowledging that white, and this is not my words, again, the author of this, we can see at the top here, is Grandmaster Sefer Rahman, and it comes from, you can see the source, the Chessable course there. And this is acknowledging that white has taken over the a file. Yes, he has. We scoot over our rook to take control of the b file in return, and also keeping our bishop flexible so it can come out and do this pin here or come here. So I suppose the other option in this position is you can defend your rook and put the bishop there. But Sefer Rahman prefers rook b8, and I'm looking only now at the text here, and I'm just reading through this. And now d4 must be the continuation. Why or has this been played? What do we do here? I don't want to capture on d4, and because it gives up the center. Now another thing I would really like to mention here, which we spent a lot of money doing, but again we thought this was very important for us. You can see that under the board there is our little robot, and I can turn our little robot on. This is Stockfish, but this thing here is this is incredible. It really is. Now this is Stockfish 13 neural network at a depth of 25. Now what we actually did on all the positions that occur in our encyclopedia at the moment, we run the most powerful version of Stockfish that not just we could get our hands on, but the Play Magnus group, and we run it for 5 minutes on every single position in our encyclopedia. Now just let that settle in your mind. That basically means that this evaluation here is going to be one of the best evaluations you're going to get computer wise without spending a lot of money on any position. So you can also see what the computer thinks. The computer thinks that this is a 0.35 advantage for white. I'm not worried about that as it's the opening, but it also gives what it thinks is the best line here. And just to tell you how powerful that is neural network, every position at 5 minutes. Now normally when you use a computer you only leave it on for like 30 seconds a minute. To leave it on every position in your you want to look at for 5 minutes would take days if not weeks. So I know here that if the neural network has covered the position, I'm getting a very good and powerful evaluation of the position. Now why is that good? I'm a professional player. I want to make sure that the computer, and I always say don't just use computers when you're preparing, but I also must acknowledge that computers at the level I play at, and I play other grandmasters, is incredibly important. And that's why I'm looking at this. But also, if we can just turn on our little friendly computer, we can toggle him on, and you can see he will also give analysis of the position. And we have a bar here. We thought we'd use a bar just so you could see it nice and clearly. Now the bar here, you can see that this Stockfish is not as powerful as our neural network because it hasn't been on for 5 minutes, because our neural network gives it 0.35. This is catching up with it, 0.26, but you can see this is a more accurate one. But you can turn the computer on with anything. But all I'm saying is we spent a lot of money to get this on because I really wanted it for myself. I was like, right, Bjorn, and we got some power. We went for a lot of hassle to get this, because I wanted to be like, I need this when I'm playing other grandmasters. I want to have one a step ahead of them. So cool. All right, back to position. So I don't really want to take on d4, because if I did such a move, I'm giving up my center. Now logically, then I'm thinking the bishop wants to go back to b6, and I want to keep my bishop here. And this, I'm remembering this as well. And now we're going to look at what Sepharalman gives. And he now gives knight to a3 as the classical main line. So I'm learning the main line first. This is good. After trying many ways of pressurizing the pawn on b5, white places the knight on a3 to attack that pawn. The drawback, of course, is that knight is on the rim of the board and is drawn away from the king side. And here there are 3 main options. So he's given the other main moves, and I'm just trying to, you know, gather these main moves as I'm learning. The other main moves are pawn takes b5, then queen b3. Okay, I'm sure we'll look at that another time. Another main move is a5. Interesting. And another main move is capturing and opening up the rook. So I'm just looking at this from the text we can see here. But knight to a3, I'm just going to look at this first because I don't want to overwhelm my mind with things as we go on. Is that now black plays castles. Okay, so he's given up the pawn. And you know what? I remember this now from Mickey Adams's game. This is brilliant, because when I was looking, when Mickey Adams was telling about his game, the Best of British game, Mickey Adams played this variation against the best female player in the world, Ho Yifang. So I'm like, great, I'm actually remembering this now. Black, and you can probably look at that game yourselves, but I'm not going to go there at the moment because I'm trying to remember. And black, it says black sacrifices the pawn on b5 for quick development. So let's have a look at what happens if white takes this pawn. What's black's idea? So we can go forwards. White grabs the pawn here. And again, I'm going to read it as I go because I want to know what Sepharalman is saying about this. White has won a pawn on b5. But it turns out this allows the pin on his knight. Okay, and that looks quite nice to me. So I'm going to think for myself, why is this good? I like the pin. I also have pressure on d4. Now, if I was going to play the other Ruy Lopez, this bishop here would be back here. This bishop here is much more aggressive. I like it. That's why I picked this line to learn. Can white resist the pressure in the center and run away with the extra pawn? Okay, well, let's have a look. So I see Sepharalman gives another variation, but I'm just going to stick with one line. I don't want to get overwhelmed by learning lots of different side lines. Bishop g4. And okay, we're going to look at the other resources a bit later. Apparently there's a video on this with Danny King as well. I might do that later. And white now has various ways to keep the pawn center instead. So what am I threatening to do here? Am I threatening just to take this pawn now? I guess so. So let's have a look at the main line. Rook e1, okay. This strengthens the e4 pawn, but allows black to shutter the king side. So now I take on f3. And the point of this is I have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking d4. My opponent only has 2, so he can't take with his queen. Well, he can, but then I'd win my pawn back, and my bishop would be very good, so I'm happy with that. So he has to take with a pawn, and this is a main line because of the d4. But I can already see that he's opened up his king. I'm liking the look of this already. And now Sepharalman goes knight to h5. Because we want to stop f3, f4. So again, when I'm learning an opening, I want to know the ideas of my opponents I want to stop. So if I play something else here, and again, look, even the neural network has this position, which is great. So I know our computer has studied it, and the computer now gives it as equal. That's really interesting to know. And it gives the same move. I like knight h5 anyway, because I can get my queen into the game. I stop f4, maybe my knight can come in. Bishop e3, main move, guarding d4. I'm talking through this myself, so I'm learning as I go on. And now queen f6, eyeing up the f4 square. King h1, moving the king to seek shelter. Makes a lot of sense. And now I actually remember this next move. It's not the top move of the neural network, so I might want to do my own research. But I was commentating with Seth Rahman in the Chessball Masters, and we're commentating on the game. With the white pieces was Wesley So, and with black was Dubov. And I remember Seth Rahman saying in this position, in my chessball course, knight d8 is my novelty. And this is an idea that is a new idea. So I'm finding new ideas using GChess already. But why is the knight going here? Where I can see if that knight gets to df4 square, I'll be very happy. Now, we haven't covered this in our ECO, but I can always turn the computer on at some point to get a rough outline. And now let's have a look what Seth Rahman gives. He gives knight a3. The knight wants to reroute. Knight e6, heading for f4. Pawn takes e5. And now, look at this. Queen h4. Wow. Lovely jubbly. In we come. If you come late to the stream today, and hello Chess Pawn, anyone else has come late, it's not quick blitz. I'm actually trying to learn an opening, as in the Twitch description, using my new, well, mine and Bjorn and other people's, JT, Andreas's, using this site we've developed called GChess, which you can all check out and subscribe to. Okay, let's have a look at this. The pieces are coming. Pawn takes d6, bishop takes e3, f takes e3. Now if rook takes e3, the knight comes into here. I'm really liking the position now. And if pawn takes c7, I'm trying to work things out for myself, but yeah, rook takes b3. And this is how you have to work on your openings at top level. We're on move 21 here. It's never going to be easy to learn an opening. If it was, chess would be a much sadder game. Anything that's worthwhile is hard work. That's what we're trying to do here. And now queen takes b3. By the way, the reason I haven't left the engine evaluation on here, and I'll tell you, I could have it on, and it probably wouldn't, well, we know black's winning, it wouldn't change so much every move now. It wouldn't go that much up and down, I say, and then it does, and then it goes back. The reason I haven't left it on, because I find when I'm working myself, I only use the computer a little bit at a time. I don't want to be constantly looking at the computer because I'm trying to learn the concepts. The computer's not telling me about the concepts. This is why I'm leaving it off at the moment. I can turn it on whenever I want. And okay, so here, well, we can see queen f2, I'm threatening checkmate, I'm threatening the rook, I'm winning. Good. So let's go back to the other line. Pawn takes e3, and now knight g5. And look at this. This is the kind of variation you want to see when you're trying to learn an opening. And of course, we will look at other lines deeper on. But pawn takes here is a mistake, because look at this, knight g3. I love this. If king g2, we have check, and we come in. So king g1, and now rook b6. One of my favorite maneuvers. The rook swinger, loving it. Pawn takes knight, and now knight h3, threatening checkmate. The king tries to run away. Where's the checkmate here? Okay, check. The king has to go up the board, and we win the queen. Nice variation. So now I've gone through that. How am I going to memorize that? Well, for me, I love what Chessable does with their move training. I use that sometimes, but I also have quite a good memory. But I can do it myself on this site. Now, what I'm going to do, and this is something, again, I insisted when we first made this site that we needed. I wanted to be able to save everything in the right place, so I could access it on my mobile phone. I can bring up my work. I don't have to search for things again. And I can save everything in a file. And again, this is a little bit, I'll be honest, like ChessBase. You have databases on ChessBase where you can create, and it's brilliant. ChessBase is great. But you know, I wanted to have a similar thing to that, which I could access on my phone, my tablet. But on my phone, when I'm on the way to a tournament, I want to have a look quickly. And what you do here, and I haven't used this for a while, is at the bottom here, and we've got to make this clearer, I'll be honest. At the bottom here, you can see there's a heart. And if you hover over anything, it'll tell you what it does. Save this PG in as your own file. I want to save this because I might want to look at it later, right? So I'm going to click that button, and we can't save short and sweets. Aha. Because that is the only category we can't save. So, okay, fair enough. I'm learning as we go, but I can save everything else. So what I'm going to do, I can play through that again. Part of the deal. Okay, so we did the deal. Okay, and the same with new chess. So what am I going to do next, though, to look at this? So I'm just going to go through the opening moves again, just so I get a grip to it. Okay, so I'm going to go to the encyclopedia now, by the way. Oh, it has got, look, it's got my courses and the short sweets. But we know the starting position is we go b5 first. Why do we go b5 first? Because we don't want the bishop going to c2. So I'm going to play b5. And now I go bishop c5. And now the two main lines are a4 and c3. And if a4, we're generally going rook b8. I'm just going over what I'm learning already for my own benefit. By the way, Aussie, this is the next thing that I wanted to ask for. I wanted to ask for a dark. I really did ask for a dark mode. Aussie, I'm with you there. We need a dark mode. Bjorn. Whenever I say to Bjorn, surely Bjorn, this won't take long to do. Bjorn's like, oh Simon, Bjorn, we need a dark mode, definitely. What? By the way, if you're late to the show, I'll put this up on YouTube later on as well, but I can't go through it all again. How long will it take for getting a lot of questions about dark mode? Guess we'll do it. Get in there, Bjorn. I mean, look at me. I always wear black, yeah? I need things to be dark. We're bringing a dark mode out. Definitely. 100%. Okay, so anyway, back to what I'm thinking. So I'm trying to learn this as we go, yeah? And if you missed the start of the stream, you can look at it later. It'll go up on YouTube. Unfortunately, hopefully, we have two helpers. Yay Bjorn, who's the programmer. He's a genius. Lovely guy. And Chesspats UK can help you out with the questions. But I'm trying to learn this opening. So I already know a4, I'm going to go a rook here against c3. So this is what I learned from Sephiram's idea. I want to get them in my mind, what I've learned. c3, I go d6, d4, the bishop goes to b6. Now if white grabs the pawn on b5 with his knight, I don't mind. I pin his knight with my bishop. I take on f3 if he has to take with the pawn. And then I bring my knight to this square, trying to get control of f4, my queen to support that, and my knight on c6 has this maneuver. They are the key things I learnt from that, which I'm now going to put in my memory bank. But now this is unique to GChess. This is the encyclopedia. And the encyclopedia has this position. Someone's mowing. They love. Every time I do a stream here, someone bloody starts mowing. Have you noticed that? It doesn't matter. I do a 10 p.m. stream. Someone starts mowing. Okay, they've turned the mower off now. Hope they didn't hear me. Every time. Okay, anyway, back to the game. The mower's off. So what you can do, we have our own encyclopedia. And again, I've gone through this already. I'm not going to repeat myself. It took us a lot of work to do. If I want to have, this is more for beginners. You can see if you're trying to learn the right opening for you, we have tried to score things in the fairest way we can. So if you're looking for a really aggressive opening, the Ruy Lopez is only 7-7. It might get, you might want something more aggressive. But I'm now going to go to, and I think we will start with this line here. And I'm going to go over this. Now, this doesn't have annotation. Some of our stuff does. Some of it doesn't. I'll be honest. Some of it has very good verbal analysis. Some of it doesn't. But it still has all the lines I want. So bishop c5. Okay, so here, what are the options here that we've got in this file? Okay, so we're not looking here at the critical after bishop c5, c3 move. Now, let's just have a look. Do we have c3? We do. Good. I want to start with c3 because I think that's what we just looked at, right? And I'd only want to learn c3 first. So I'm going to bring up the first file here with c3, and it adds a new PGN. You can see here where follow my mouse to try and learn it. I have all the relevant PGNs up here. So c3, d6 is the move. I remember that from Sephiram's. And now d4 was what we just saw. I want to see what Encyclopedia recommends here. Well, the bishop goes back to b6. We know that already. And now I think the last main line was a4. Now it gives bishop g5 as the main possibility here. Let's see what options white has. Okay, so a4 is one of them, bishop g5 is another. Now a4, previously we were going rook to b8, but is this a different move order now? Because there's, I mean, remember, all of these information I'm going to look through and I'm going to decide for myself what line I want to play. You've got to have, you can follow one of them, but you have your different bits of information that will work for you. And I can also save lines in here as well that might own work. Now, why was this different to Sephirothman's? Let's just click back on Sephirothman's because I want to know what the difference is, and I want to try to work it out. So there, c3 was played, d6, and then a4. Okay, so let's now go back to the line I had, and the difference was c3, d6. There's no a4, and a4. Let's have a look. What is the difference? Well, a4 here. In the position, I can bring up that file. So this is Sephirothman's file, and we can see here that the main line, they both agree on the main line after a4 early on. So when a4 is played before d4, we go rook b8. So I'm just going to think why do I play rook b8 here? Well, I can see even that Karpov has, if we just go down in the notes here, Karpov has played bishop g4, but it doesn't seem to work very well. And I'm looking at the dates, and these are all old variations. So obviously, sometimes you don't even need to work your way through it. Sometimes you just need to learn stuff, and it'll become clear later on. And I can see that rook b8, I'm going to just learn the Sephirothman line again. I'm going to see what our encyclopedia has. So rook b8 played. Okay. And now d4 was critical, as we saw before. Bishop b6. And this is the line we just looked at. So pawn takes b5, pawn takes b5, and now knight a3 certainly seems to be the main line. Now, what other options do I have to learn here? Okay, h3, stopping my bishop coming out. D takes c5. That's also something I will look at. And queen d3. But I'm going to stick with one line at a time. Knight to a3. Now, did we castle here or go bishop g4? See, I don't. My memory is okay, but I still need to work things out. And I think we did castle. Now, if I'm not sure, I can go back because they're all saved here to what Sephirothman has, and I want to see how the analysis and different things compares. So I want to see how analysis on our encyclopedia compares to Chessable, compares to New in Chess. I want to get all these different resources and understand them. And it does seem that castles was played here as well. So we're going to stick with that, right? And castling can't be a bad move, can it? It can't be a bad move to castle here. So let's go back to my latest file. And we can see that castling is the move I'm going to play. I don't want to play bishop a6. Far too passive. And now knight takes b5, bishop g4. We just had this line. Great. Now let's see if I can remember. I think the line we just looked at was rook e1. So my memory is kind of there. Rook e1 is one of the variations here. And again, when you're learning in every opening, there's a lot to learn. So rook e1 is there as an option. And bishop takes f3. Remember, you force them to take with a pawn. Otherwise, you capture on d4. And I'm just going to test my memory because I'm just learning a little bit at a time. And now the knight comes out, the queen comes in, and here we have e takes d4, but I want to compare any different line with the different resources, and this is where I might check the computer. The computer even gives a move which is maybe, let's just see, so you've got to use your own mind when you're doing it. And the computer, Sephirothman's move, knight d8, Danny Gombani's move, pawn takes pawn, our neural network goes knight e7. I just want to check if this has been played before. Have we found a novelty? So if I put the computer's move knight e7, and the idea of this is clearly to get the knight around here. It makes a lot of sense to me. Now, aha, and you can see, because there's orange dots up here, this is not a new move. It has been played before. I'm just going to see who's played this. Okay, it's only been played one time. And if I click the opening tree, I can find out the game, and this is the game. How strong were these players? This was played in the under 12 World Championships. this interesting move. And if I want to load this game into my files here, I just click it and I can load it immediately. And even though this was a low rated game, I say low rated, they weren't well cast players, this could be a very useful game for me. So I'm even finding games from the under 12 World Championships, and the knight comes here. So that I found that quite interesting. But let's have a look at games that have been played online. Games that have been played online. Only one game on chess.com. And what was the strength for the players? Let's see. Well, the strength for the players on chess.com were pretty average. Black won again. It's looking quite good for black. On Lichess, no games on Lichess. So this knight e7, I've already found an idea which has only been played in the under 12 boys championships. So I'm already finding novelties with my vast different resources that I got available. And you know what? This game here, which I found in the under 12, was it under 12? I want to save this game in my. So now I'm going to create a database of all the work I got. Because to be honest, when I'm learning chess or when I'm doing a lot of things, you know, I don't want to work all day on it. Maybe I'll do an hour, go and have a cup of tea, go and watch something on TV, and then come back. So I'm learning a little bit. Let's make a folder now. Now this is very important, and this is one thing I thought we had to do, was be able to save your work or save the work that's relevant to you. So you've gone through GChess, it's very easy to find it, but I want to save it in a folder so I can always go back to it. I might want to add annotations, so let's do this. So this is where I think, Bjorn, we have to make this a little bit clearer. What's White's knight doing over there? Well, it grabbed the pawn over there is the question. Yeah, it grabbed the pawn over there. Thank you for anyone who's subscribing to the channel. But I want to save this, so I go to the little heart thing. We will make this much more clearer. I think it's very hard to see this. But if you go down, I want to save this. So I'm going to click this. And now I can see here, if you're a subscriber, you have different folders. And it's just like work folders. You can save your stuff in different folders. Now, I'm actually going to create a new folder because I want to put this in my new work folder. And I was going to call it the Muller variation, but I'm going to call it that big long variation because I now know there it is. I'm just going to put this folder in the new, and I can give it a description. So my new opening against, let's see if I can spell against 1e4. You can add whatever notes you want. So I've created a new folder, okay, and I'm hoping that this is now saved in that folder. So I haven't tried this out so far. So let's see if this game is saved there. This is something, it is, okay, let's see. So if I go now over to save games, the new Archangel, this is where I saved my games. And my new opening against e4, is it there? Let's have a look. If it's not there, I'm going to work out how to do it. So not saved yet. So let's go back. Okay, so I've created the folder, so I'm learning as well, and this is something we've got to make a bit clearer. I agree, but I want to save it now, so let's save it. So now I've created the folder. Oh, I haven't pressed the save game, so I've got to I've only created the folder, so I've got to go to the folder I wanted. It was this one here, and this game name, we're going to call it interesting, unique, well, game from the under 12 World Champs, which is probably quite a rare game. I'm going to save the game. Aha! So now you can see the board has changed color. Now, why might this be useful? Because when I'm doing work in ChessBase and other things, I thought that I want to suddenly add my own annotations here, right? On knight e7. So let's see. I want to actually make a comment. And I want to say new idea. Not found in many resources, and that, and I can add like I can add also, okay, we'll add that in there, and I'm also going to add I'm going to annotate that. I'm going to give it an interesting move mark because this to me is an interesting idea. We've kind of found a new idea. So now I'm going to make sure that is saved. Is it automatically saved? Well, I guess so. Bjorn, does it automatically save? Saved. It says saved. quite psychedelic colours on the board. It's gone a bit pink, but we know it's in edit mode, right? I'm also going to edit straight into this variation, so I don't have it in lots of different files. Actually, I'm going to put in, this is Sephirama's move. So look, this is actually really useful for me. I'm not just saying that, really useful. This is Sephu's move. Sephu's move in chessable course. Chessable course. Idea is to come to f4. So I'm just making notes on what I've learned already. Very useful. I can create my own things. I think this is great. Okay, that's automatically saved. So this is Sephu's move. This is the move I know that's given in the maybe the ECO move. So I can look at this myself and do my own work. And it's automatically saving. So I hope you can see how you can do your work in the file basically as you go. You've got all these raw resources. Now this one is actually, this is maybe my main work thing. So I could actually even add in these lines to here, or maybe actually this is a really big line. I'm going to save this as well, because look, this has got loads of work and I want to look at this later. This is quite a lot for me to digest in one. So I'm going to save this one. I'm going to go to the folder I want to save it in, and this is some of the theory, and it is the theory of C3 and then C3 main line. Okay, let's see. I'm going to save that now, and it should be saved, I hope. Yeah, it's changed color. Okay, now let's just see. So I'm hoping now this will be saved on my phone as well. This will be a real test, but I'll go to that later on. I'm not going to get my phone out now because I haven't got it set up. But if I go to save games, you can see now, if I go to the new Archangel folder, under this I have those two things saved. So if I want to bring them up, I click on them. I can even download the PGN, or I can just view it. And this means I can view it immediately, and it's there. But I have to say, why is the lines not saved now? Have I found our first bug? Which we're going to find now and again. It's not a major problem. But at least I've got the main idea of knight e7. Knight e7 is the main idea there. Does it have dark mode? People are loving dark mode. Okay, but we will get that fixed. If there's a little bug, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this as well. I want to find them. But great. Okay, at least we got that. But if I go to save games, I want to look at the other one, just make sure that's all right. I'm going to view this one. Let's move my face out the way. Oh no, we don't want to move that out the way. Let's get that one there. And want to view this one so I can look at it. Yeah, that's all there to save. Brilliant. Okay, and I can view this myself. Easy fix. Cheers. Okay, well, it's good to find these things. Okay, now the next thing I want to do just myself, so I've already just had a little overview. I have to admit it's quite hard explaining things and really working on it, but I wanted to share the process of what I'm going to be doing, what you guys can do with GChess. But the thing that I personally really interested in looking at, because I'm going to be playing these ideas at Grandmaster level, I want to know what the New in Chess articles are, because I think New in Chess for me is it's the best publication in chess. And we already know, if we put this position on the board, this is what I'm analyzing. We already know that under the New in Chess tab, which is here, there are 2 articles. So I want to see what the New in Chess article is. Now these articles, I've written a couple for New in Chess. Let's just bring it up. Now this one is written by Gupta, so you can see now about the information. And Gupta is an Indian Grandmaster, extremely strong Indian Grandmaster, and he has looked at one line here, and let's just see the introduction to this. So I'm going to bring it up, and again I've got more stuff I can read. Fantastic. So it does have basically books already in GChess. And the line that Gupta's looking at, well, Gupta's looking at a4. Now we haven't looked at this move yet because we were looking at c3, but does it transpose? Well, against a4, I know that rook b8 is the main idea. Let's go rook b8 and now c3. So we're going to transpose back into the main line. This is fantastic. I'm learning a lot already. d6, can you see I'm getting excited about how to learn from all these different resources. d4, And now bishop, this is just the position we're looking at, wasn't it? But we've only looked at the knight coming here. But this whole article is concentrating on this. Well, let's have a look. So I'm going to just read it out because Gupta, I think, is an amazing analysis. The main line these days keeps changing thanks to the advent of a new era. I was thinking, when was the last time I used these Hirax or Riblica? Do you remember? These are the days of Stockfish, Sese, Fat Fritz. I know the analysis in New in Chess is going to be another level because it is so deep. MVL, that's Maxine, opted for the modern A5. So, okay, so A5 here is an idea. Okay, interesting. We saw that already, didn't we? Ever since Magnus Carlsen played this variation against Sergei Karyakin in the World Championship match. I can't remember that game, to be honest. That surprises me. Interesting. The game, okay, where was that? Where was I? Sergei Karyakin. This variation has been popular. Well, if Magnus Carlsen used it, it is. After Black's response, that's A5, Bishop A7, H3, stopping Bishop G4 is a main line. And the game Kurnisov, and we've probably got the games down here, which I can look at later on. This is great. This is a really good way to learn. Earlier, Yakovenko successfully used Rook E1. We saw that a little bit earlier, but combined with this idea. And great start. Okay, so let's have a look. So he's giving Rook E8 as an idea. And we'll have a look at the Rook E8. So this is Caruana's, okay, Rook E8 idea. So he's given a little overview of the lines, but now I want to see the actual moves he's talking about, right? So I'm going to click on the first game. And remember, all these games here is just one article in the New in Chess tab. It's just one article has all these really deeply annotated games. So if I go to Niels Grandilius, I'm going to see the line he was now talking about. And this is Niels Grandilius White versus one of my heroes, Alexei Shirov. Niels is a top bloke as well. So the line he's giving, this move. Now, my first question, as someone who's new to this, is why can't we take the pawn on A5? Now, before turning the computer on, which I can always do if I'm unsure about a tactic, I'd like to try to work it out myself. And already I can see that if I take this pawn, I want to visualize it. He can take on D5, pawn takes, sorry, E5. He can maybe get the queen off and take here. I have to take my king on D8 because if I take my knight, my bishop is undefended, the rook will take it. So the problem with this is that he just captures here and I'm in trouble already. I think that's quite easy to see. I can put the computer on and just check and you can see that white's already winning here. So yeah, we don't want to be doing that. Now I have to ask myself, what if knight takes? Well, if knight takes, my knight is coming away from the center. So this A5 move is quite a oh, D5 as well. Oh, Wilsona. Yeah, good point, Wilsona. If I was only looking at D takes E5 and just came to the conclusion that's winning, but D5 is winning as well, just winning a piece. Nicely. So there's a couple of winning moves there. So what I'm gathering is just don't take that pawn. Now, knight takes, it's clear that pawn takes and I lose a central pawn. I don't want to do it. But I'm also thinking, who does this move benefit, black or white? If I'm playing black, would I be happy to see this? And my first thought instinctively is yes. Why am I instinctively happy to see this? Because I'm quite happy if the queen side gets closed down. A5 is closing the queen side because I was more worried about that rook coming down and annoying me. So I'm thinking, okay, bishop A7, I still keep my bishop on this very nice diagonal here and I'm not too worried about this. Okay, so now the main line is H3 and this is a prophylactic move because otherwise, as we've seen before, my bishop comes to this lovely square. And now castling must be correct. Okay. Now I can't take here. You should always ask yourself these questions why you can't take things. And I already know why I can't take here because bishop there will pin my knights and win a piece. So if I take there straight away, the bishop will come there and win my knight. So be very careful. I've seen that tactic before. Now, interestingly, Stockfish gives bishop B7 as the move here. So I might consider that in future. But I'm going to look at the main line. I'm going to look at castles. I like castling. Bishop e3. What are my ideas here? So I can't go bishop g4. What are my ideas? Well, my ideas... Do I put the bishop on b7 now? Maybe. Do I try to get pressure against e4? Maybe that's another idea. Rook e8. Maybe I can... Another idea is sometimes you bring the knight around here in the Ruy Lopez, but maybe that's another idea. So I'm just thinking what things I want to be trying to do. And the problem when you try to learn any new opening is these ideas might not be clear to you. That's why I think the video section, we don't have any videos it looks like on this position. We're adding more videos all the time. That's why I might look at some of the video sections that like Danny King, some of my favourite authors, to see what little bits of advice they give. And you'll see lots of videos of me and other openings. Okay, well here, I don't think I'm worried about bishop g5 yet. If we do play bishop g5, and this is one of the great things with what we created, if you see a move, it might not be new in chess, but look, we have it covered in the week in chess and in the online game. So I can quickly go and see, and we can see that there's only one game there. What about online games? No strong players have really played bishop g5, so it can't be something to be worried about. I'm imagining I just go h5 and h6 and g5 against this. Actually, I'm not worried about that. I'm going to go back to the new in chess. So I'm going to go back, and I've got it in front of me, bishop e3 covering the center. And there is an idea now of some d5, and my bishop is loose here. So rook a8 was played by Shirov. And I'm just going to look how this game went to get a bit of an understanding about the opening. Now, Neil's continued developing, very natural. And now h6. So why did he play h6, I'm asking myself. Is it to maybe bring the knight around here? It's a very patient move. We have this tension in the center. And I guess this is something I need to do more in my own games. Be more patient. Play useful moves that take away squares of your opponents, give you more possibilities. That's why I wanted to learn this opening, become a more patient player. So rook e1, another patient move, and we go rook e8. Okay, I wanted to play this move to get pressure there. The knight now does its standard maneuver, and this is where pawn takes d4 is played. So we give up the center, but we're giving it up now to enter into what looks like some calculations. Hello Chess Weeb, thank you for coming over, and thank you to everyone from Chess Weeb's stream who have come over. Good to see you. We're actually today doing a lesson where I'm using this website I've created along with other people, GChess.com, where I'm using it to try and learn a little bit of information about a new opening. And I'm just going over the process that I would use with this website to do it. Now, you've obviously come a bit late to the stream, and it's lovely to see you here. I might finish it off with a little bit of blitz later on. We've got to have a little bit of blitz, but you've kind of jumped into a case where we're jumping into the middle learning something. But thank you for coming over. Cheers to have you here. And I'm looking now at a New in Chess article. New in Chess, the leading articles in chess, I think, on a certain position. And I'm just looking at this line now. I'm going to have a look at this game. Pawn takes d4, rook takes e4, a very committal move. You have to be extremely well prepared as black to survive the onslaught here. You know what? When I see a sentence like that, I'm like, ooh, I don't like getting attacked. And I'm already thinking, you know, this grandmaster is saying, if I take here on move 16, I'm going to get attacked. My brain is already thinking, is there another way I can play this opening? Because I don't want to get attacked. So I'm actually going to be lazy, and I'm going to move in the list of games to the next game, because if there's not another way I can play this, I'll come back to this and learn this game. But I want to see if there's another way I can play this variation. So the next game in the list is MVL versus Fabiano Caruana. So I'm going to go through those same ideas and see what the difference is. So bishop a7, h3, yeah, we had this. Castles, we had this. Bishop e3, and now I see that we have the first new move. Remember, Shirov played h6, and remember there, I was even wondering. Oh, he played rook a8, didn't he? And I was thinking rook a8 and h6, it might be playable, but it's very slow to play rook a8. Do you need to play that move? I don't want to waste time if I can. Do I want to play h6? I don't really want to waste time with that move if I can. So is there another way to play it? And Fabiano's Fabiano. He knows what he's doing. And he now captured on d4. Okay, so let's have a look how Fabiano. So I'm already thinking, if I get this position, just because the annotation said you get attacked in the other line, maybe I'll play like Fabiano. So I'm already thinking this could be the way to do it. I might actually save this game. Oh, you can't save new in chess, but you could remember this line and add it to your new in chess stuff. And now, okay, white will want to take with a pawn. And here, if we go knight takes e4, there's some annotations here saying white is simply better. So what now? Knight to b4. What a crazy move this is. Why does he play there? Well, we talked about the bishop on c8. Now that white's gone h3, bishop g4 is no longer the move to play, clearly. And I did say earlier that bishop would like to come to b7. So the first thing I'm thinking is that with this move, we can aim to attack the center. The other thing I'm seeing straight away is that maybe I can play c5, c4. And there's an unbalance in pawn structure. So this actually looks very dynamic, this position. It looks very unclear, very dynamic. So if now, can white do anything with these pawns? Well, I wouldn't be worried about e5 because every pawn move in chess weakens the square. And if white played e5 here, I can see immediately that this square here is weak. And what a square that is for my knights. Lovely. So I think black would just be better. So white has to defend this pawn. And I'm just trying to understand the game as we go through it. MVL therefore plays knight c3, defending that pawn. And now we get our bishop b7 in. I like this system a lot more than the Shirov way of playing because we're getting attack against the center. Now apparently Yakovenko played rook e1 here, and it says in the notes for rook e1, look at Yakovenko. So do we have Yakovenko's game here? Well, we can find that somewhere else. I'm surprised Yakovenko is not in the notes there, but I'm sure we can find that in one of the other resources. But let's have a look how MVL played. Knight g5, defending the pawn. And now queen e7. Queen e8 leads to an advantage of white. So queen e7, attacking the pawn again. Getting my rooks connected. Now the game went e5. Very exciting, this game. Pawn takes e5. And now knight takes f7. Whoa, this is crazy, right? This is crazy. And this is certainly a line which you'd need to... by the way, that game was there. It was above the Grishchuk game, apparently. So it was there. Okay. So after this, look at this line. I'm going to put the computer on now because this is such a sharp line. And this is where I would use a computer. As soon as the position gets incredibly tactical, I don't want to rely on my own calculation. Only in these positions where it's very tactical, I want to see what the computer says. And Stockfish has given this as at least okay for black. So that's good to know. Now, I wouldn't take this one because if bishop takes, queen takes, pawn takes e5. But e4 is the move. What a crazy move. I'm going to turn the computer off now because I'm going to rely on Fabiano. And I'm just going to come back to the computer later on. And this is crazy. After this, black is in the game. I feel white is calling the shots if he plays knight g5 check, king h8, and then knight e6. Attacking the rook. The rook has to move. And now d5. We have to take on e3. Pawn takes e3. And Gupta says that he thinks white's better here. So let's just put the computer back on and see if the computer agrees with Gupta. The computer thinks this position is even. And this is Stockfish at quite a deep depth here. So maybe this is okay. You don't always trust the authors. You have to do your own work. Now, this is if MVL had played knight check and knight here. This is a really, I have to be honest, in this position, e4 is a really bizarre move. I'm just going to check what happens if we take the knight. So if we take the knight, this has actually never been played before. The computer basically thinks now that white's winning. And this is where I would use computer, because the pawn takes e5. Okay. And the engine analysis now gives c5. And actually now I'm seeing the problem with these dart squared bishops. And that's why Shirov went rook a8. Interesting. Okay, so we can't take that piece. So you have to play e4. And this is a wild position. There's a lot of theory to learn in these, isn't it? This is why I'm just doing a bit today. I'm learning a little bit of an overview today. I'm going to come back and learn this opening more and more as I go along. Okay, but e4 is interesting. And let's just see how the game went. Okay, knight d6 check. King h8. Knight takes b7. Rook takes b7. Queen e2. And this looks okay for black. I like this pawn here. The knight has the d3 square. My bishop is okay, attacking there. I have the f file. I like this position. So if I was going to do my opening work, what I would do now, I wouldn't really go any further, because I don't really need to look at the middle game. That's not going to help me learn. That's not really going to help me learn anything about the opening. But what I want to know is that if I got this position in a game, would I be confident playing it as black? And that's when I might turn the computer on again, just to see the computer's evaluation. When I get a position I like the look of, and the computer is agreeing with me, and the computer's actually saying here that black has the advantage. It's going down a little bit, but that indicates to me that I'd certainly be happy playing this position as black. So now I really want to sort of just remember this line. I'm going to turn the computer off and just make sure it's in my mind palace. And I might even add it to the save game bits, but I won't do that for now. And I'm just going to go through the opening moves. So we're looking at bishop c5 in the Ruy Lopez, and we've gone over why we get this position. Now a4, we go rook b8, c3, and this could have come about from c3 first. We can consolidate the center. The bishop comes to b6. After a5, we know the bishop comes back to a7. Now we'd like to go bishop g4 if we get a chance. So white stops that. We castle. And now after bishop e3, I remember Shirov played rook a8 here. But in this position, this pawn takes d4 looks more interesting to me. So I'd certainly remember to play this. And then I'd go knight b4 with the idea of clearing the bishop, attacking that pawn. And then you had this crazy line where actually white is struggling to defend this pawn because I've got rook e8 to come. So white has to play something tactical, knight g5, and after queen e7, e5, I take on e5. Now I'm also going to think, what happens if he plays pawn takes e5? New in chess doesn't have any notes there, but that's when I can use the computer. I can put that on the board, I can think for myself, and I can see that I can take on e3. That looks fine, but let's just double check that. And the computer agrees that you just take on e3, and if pawn takes f6, my queen can come and capture it, attacking the knight. So I'm happy with that one. Okay. And no games in this position. This is quite crazy. This is quite a rare line then, with pawn takes e5, right? Quite rare. But this is just seems to be absolutely fine for black if he does this. So that's why MVL played the crazy knight takes f7, but now e4. And even though Gupta gave this knight g5 line, it looks all right. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to move on to the next game, and this is all in the New in Chess article, and I think you can see just how well New in Chess have written their things. And let's have a look at the game between. I'm just getting a feeling for this one line now. I'm going to go over them a little bit quicker, and this is now the game between Kuznetsov and Kazimirjanov. And these two players, two very strong players. Kuznetsov 2700, I think, and Kazimirjanov was the second of Fabiano. And the opening we'll look at. Let's go from the top. Is the opening I'm trying to learn today is this variation, and let's get this working with the bishop coming to c5. So I see that the New in Chess is a little bit slower on the search thing. We'll see if we can speed that up actually, because there's so many articles here. So something we can speed up. Hello Chris, hope you're doing all right. We'll have to have a think how we can speed this up, won't we? I think a little bit. because there's a lot of articles here. I want everything to be as quick as possible. Okay, it's speeding up a little bit now, is it? Skip to the relevant move. Well, I wanted to go over the opening, so maybe I have to put it on a different tab, which is a little bit annoying when I'm going over the opening. We'll see how we can fix that. Okay, so I'm just trying to remember the moves. The opening I'm trying to learn. Now, this is where bishop c5 was played by Kazimjanov, but I remember now from the short and sweet, remember we looked at this is the chessboard short and sweet, that bishop c5, Sefer Rahman actually said bishop c5 is slightly inaccurate because white can play c3, and if we try to get the same position, the bishop could come to c2. Now, I don't know if this is inaccurate, but when I'm trying to learn a new opening, I want to be as lazy as I can, and if I was playing this opening, I would not be playing bishop c5. I'd be going b5 first, because now I take away the possibility of the bishop coming to c2. Good. And now we will go back to the new in chess tab. So let's go back there, and we can see here we're back to the article. And the next game I want to look at, well, I've already brought it up, so I don't know why I bring it up again. Let me just delete one of these PGNs. If you want to delete some of your work here, you can scroll through the PGNs that you've got saved, but you just click the bin to get rid of it. And let's have a look at this game. Okay, so I'm going to look at the game. And we were on around here, weren't we? So d6, a4. We know we played rook b8 against this. d4. We know the bishop comes here. Now, knight to a3 was actually how Karyakin played, but we've already had a little look at knight to a3, and we got some ideas there. So a5, the bishop comes back here as we discussed. Bishop to e3. So this is where white hasn't played the move h3. And of course, if I can now play bishop g4, I will play it. So bishop g4 played, and this already seems like a move I'm really happy to get in. Knight bd2 played, and now castles. And already I'm kind of happy in this kind of position because I've got every piece developed. I've got a nice hold in the center. Why shouldn't I be happy here? Pawn takes e5, and this is the only time it gets a little bit critical because of the standoff with the bishop. So let's have a look. Bishop takes e3 is the move I'm always going to have to play, otherwise I might be in trouble. And if he takes on e3, I'm just going to be better because of the pawn structure here. White's pawn's very weak. I maybe bring my queen to c5 here. So pawn takes f6 is critical. And now we take on d2. And it says that this queen takes is just to change the move order. So takes on g7. Rook e8 to keep the pressure up. This is again a very sharp line. He can't take the knight. He has to take with the queen on d2. And now bishop takes f3, damaging his pawn side. Knight to e5 here, attacking f3. He defends it. The queen comes out. And we already seen this idea of the queen coming to f6 against f3. And this is one thing you'll learn when you're learning new openings. You'll learn, even if it's in a different position, you learn certain concepts. And this move must be a good move. The king now comes to g2, and we play knight c4. How many pawns down are we now? I'm just counting the pawns. We're 2 pawns down, but this pawn is weak and these pawns are doubled. Now the knight is very strong, and we're getting very good counterplay on the b file. Rook b5, I really like that move, the rook coming over. And now rook takes a5. And it actually says, surprisingly, and this is the notes, this is how high quality the new in chess articles are, because they go into move 23. And like I say, I'm trying to learn this opening when I play these kind of players, so it has to be up to move 23. It's not easy, I'll tell you that. Surprisingly, everything was forced till here, and black is comfortably drawing this position. Now, that's all I need to know, because I trust the analysis. When you're playing with the black pieces, if you get an equal position, it is okay. You're not trying to get an advantage, but am I happy playing this position? And to me, I'd be very happy playing this, because it seems, even though the position is equal, there's a lot of chances for both sides here, and that's all I want. Okay, now I'm just going to look at the rest of the games in this article. what's this one? Okay, let's go to the position we had before. And I think we know how the moves start now. And we always play this way. So we're really learning about bishop a7 here. Now h3 and bishop e3 seem more critical. And now rook e8 was that move that Shirov played, which we didn't quite like. I'm just going to see if there's any other ways that can be played. Rook e8 was played here as well. Okay, is there any other? Oh, Gawain Jones. I always like the way that Gawain Jones plays. Okay, Gawain Jones. Gawain, okay, good. So I can see here Gawain Jones, who's a very dynamic player. You don't want to play that move. Played Fabiano's move, pawn takes d4. And you know what? For me, that is really good news, because I'm thinking, okay, Gawain Jones played that. I like Gawain Jones' play style. He loves attacking. I love attacking. If I get the position in future, I'm also going to take on d4. And Stockfish, we can see, has done some... We've got our deep analysis here. Pawn takes d4, and we have this knight b4 move again. And we've seen this position before with bishop b7. Now, we're quite happy with knight g5, queen e7, right? So rook e1 is another move that hasn't been played. And now taking this pawn here is possible, as given in the notes. But it looks like I'm going to stick with what Gawain played. And Gawain now goes c5. And I like this move because you're getting a nice majority coming up here. And now bishop g5, pinning. Quite an annoying pin, that one. How did Gawain deal with that? Okay, he kicks the bishop once. And now, I mean, look at this position. One of the reasons I wanted to learn this opening is I wanted to have quite a solid start to the game by playing the Ruy Lopez. But I wanted these dynamic positions where with the black pieces I can win. And this is just the kind of position I want. I want counterplay on the queen side. I want dynamic bishops. Yes, my opponent has a nice center, a pin. What does the computer think about this? If the computer doesn't think this is bad for black, I'll be very happy. And plus a little bit, well, we can leave that weight. It's thinking a little bit more better now. But okay, I can maybe live with that. But I'd prefer to try and look a bit further. It gives bishop c2 as the main move. And now, I don't want to say it's a mistake because black's whole play is based on g5. So maybe this is actually a good move we're finding for white, rook e1. Because according to the computer, okay, the computer's now actually gone back to thinking g5 is okay. Let's have a look how this goes. I'll turn it off for now. Now you have to take here, otherwise I'll be fine. This is some hairy stuff here. Knight takes c2, b4. Oh dear. And it's giving white an advantage in these lines. Okay, so how are we going to deal with this variation? Because this seems to be a problem for black, no? Okay, the last game. Okay, Grischuk. Did this happen? Grischuk. We have another one of these games. I'm just going to go through the moves that we know already again. Okay, so what did Fabiano play in this game? Okay, interesting. So this is the whole point. You remember the introduction to the article? I remember him mentioning, I'm just going back to the introduction, because we can see now how this article's been written. This is great. Because it comes to the conclusion, which I did note, I didn't read it out, that Caruana's 12 rook e8 clearly seems to be the future of this variation. And if we go back to that last game, what I've seen so far, I'll be honest, this line of taking on d4 and knight b4, if you have to go g5 later on, as Gawain did, I don't like it, because I don't like weakening my king like that. The other game, we saw Shirov going rook to e8 and then going h6. I didn't really like that because it was too slow. So this game, rook to e8, which is very rare still. I'm just going to check how many times it's now been played offline. Let's have a look. If we click the opening tree on, so this is in tournaments, how many times has it been played? Only a handful. So 7, 8, it's only been played like 10 times. And look at the scores for black. Black is scoring very well with the main move. And you know what that indicates to me? That indicates, right, this is fantastic, because we found quite a rare line and it still hasn't been caught on in theory, this game is Rook E8 is the way to play. I'm just going to look online now. Let's have a look online. Big Fish. Well, this is a game between Nepo. This is Nepo's handle, and Big Fish is Fedosev. So let's have a look when this was played. This was played in 2020, and I can also look at how these guys played the game. That ended in a draw. Nihal Sarin lost to Big Fish. Big Fish, Fedosev, has played this a number of times, and he has great results with it. I'm liking this Rook E8. So I'm just also going on what the top players have played. Let's just go back to the article, the New in Chess article, and continuing. Well, we can go here, can't we? We've already got the game up. And again, you can go through all the games we've got here like this. And the reason, I don't know, one thing I would also like to say, we've basically got the games here with the initials of the players, and you can see that if you hover over it, it gives what you've already got on your screen. So you've got loads of work going on. You can save a lot of this work as you go. I'm just wondering if there's an easier way to show this. Maybe there is. You know, always thinking of ways to improve our system. Okay, but I want to go back to the game. So this is Grischuk versus Fabiano, and knight g5 is clearly the most principled move because you attack the pawn here. And I suppose now we see the only danger with this variation, and the only danger with this variation, and this is worth bearing in mind, if I want to play for a win, and you get this a lot when you're playing black, I might have to allow white the repetition. You get this in other main lines. Knight g5 does seem like a draw. You're right, Chris. It's actually knight g5 seems principal. So actually, I've got to now know that I did say though, if you were at the start of the stream, I'm trying to learn e5, and I'm trying to learn it to play against other grandmasters, and I want it as a solid opening. Now, when you're trying to learn a solid opening, it's like if you're trying to learn the Berlin, you'll probably be happy to have a draw, right? Sometimes. So if I'm playing a higher rated player, I probably only play this line against higher rated player because I know with knight g5 it's a draw. So if I was playing a lower rated player, I'd probably have to play one of my other openings. Worth knowing. But is there any way that white can try to win this? And now we have some analysis here, and it seems like white has two ways to play. Rook e1, keeping the tension in the center, or the other variation is pawn takes pawn, relieving the tension in the center. Now remember, last time this was played, we were taking on e3, and we were happy to give up a pawn. So I'm assuming it's the same as that. So yeah, we take on e3. And again, if white takes our bishop, we have a much better pawn structure here because of the pawns. So white's got to go into this tactical sequence of taking here. And now bishop f4. I don't know if I'd have found that move. Now, pawn takes g7. Makes sense. And now queen f6. We saw this idea before. Now, in this position, we're only a pawn down, but we have two bishops attacking. We have the queen coming over. We have the e5 square and the rooks already. I can see a lot of compensation here. So this is possible. Now we're asking a question: can you hide the right side to make the board bigger? Well, I'm sorry if the board's a bit not big enough today. We're actually, another thing we're trying to do, we're trying to bring in dark mode, and we're going to try to bring in a possibility where we can make the board a lot bigger. It's a bit hard to do that on the stream, and we do recommend for the time being that you only use GChess on your desktop. Now you can use it on your mobile phone, and we still think it's quite good on your mobile phone, but we want to make some changes so we get everything looking and working as good as it can be. Bjorn, the main programmer of GChess, has to go, so let's say goodbye to Bjorn for now. Goodbye Bjorn. I'll see you a bit later. But yeah, I mean, any ideas? Well, I'd say if you go to GChess and there's any way you'd like to improve GChess, this little, on the page, this little button here, you can just put in your ideas here, and we do read all the ideas and we take them on board. We've already made a lot of changes so far, and we've got a lot of changes we're going to make because we know it's a young business. We still think it's very powerful at the moment, but we want to make it the best chess thing out there. So We are, yeah, we're bringing in dark mode. Chess Patzer UK is one of our main workers in GChess, and he is he will read everything, so be nice. But dark mode's definitely coming. I need dark mode as well. I much prefer dark mode. Okay, let's finish this line. So bishop d5, attacking the knight. Bishop d7, just defending it. And what am I playing next as black? I'm just going to win this pawn. I'm going to move my king to h8. I'm going to try to attack on the g file. This all looks okay. Bishop takes c6. Bishop takes c6. I've got 2 bishops versus 2 knights now. This must be really nice. Here, I don't even want to win this pawn here. Bishop d7. Okay, interesting. Lining up against that, maybe getting out of the way. And the last comment from Gupta here on move 21 is black definitely has enough compensation. Well, we're only 1 pawn down, and I'm going to get my rook, as we can see, over to the g file. I got 2 bishops. I totally believe that. So I'm now seeing this rook e8 move. What an interesting new idea that was played. And if we go now to, we see that pawn takes to e5 is not a worry. So what did Grischuk play? Well, Grischuk tried to keep the tension of rook e1. And now, what is our idea? Well, our idea, I expect now that rook e1 here, is that he can take the bishop with his rook. So our bishop on a7 is a bit loose. So taking on d4 seems to be quite an important part of this opening idea, but it's all about the timing. So let's have a look. So pawn takes, and now knight takes e4. It looks, if we can win this pawn, we will. Now bishop d5, we're defending the knight with our rook, so we can just go knight b4, and this must be absolutely okay, I'd imagine. So d5 played by Grischuk, and now again there's quite a lot of tactics here. We have to take on e3. Rook takes e3, must be correct, and now knight a7. I think this game was played in the candidates, wasn't it? This game was played, I remember analysing this game now. To answer your question about the play zone, we don't have any plans to have a play zone, because this is mainly just a training site that I want to use to improve my openings and learn about chess and get better at chess. By the way, there's other things this site does. We'll talk very quickly about that, but I'm just showing you how I can use it to improve my openings at the moment. Knight a7 does seem weird, but there's no other square to put the knight, because my rook has to guard the knight, and knight b4 might get in trouble, right? If I'd have gone knight b4 here, maybe my knight gets in trouble. So knight a7 might have to be played. Queen d4, attacking both knights, looks scary. And now bishop f5. Wow. And it says here, if queen takes a7, knight c5, and you're trapping the queen with rook b7. It just shows you how much work there is to learn with a new opening. Blooming heck. Okay, but I think, you know, with the opening analysis, I'm starting to feel tired now of what I've already learned from this. I'm going to have a little break from analysing, because there's only so much you can do. But what I've been trying to do today is show, and I haven't learned a lot today, but it's very hard to learn a new opening. I've been trying to learn some ideas with this bishop c5 idea. Now I think actually the last thing I will do, because I've just done a lot of work trying to memorize, and while I've been talking, I've been taking in all the things I've had. I've already saved some things into my save game folder. You can see that I've got a bit of work there. I'm not going to save any more because I know where they are on the site, but you can always go to the save game bit. But what I'm going to do, just to relax a little bit now, and you guys can do this as well, I'm actually going to put on a YouTube video. And remember, one of the things that another thing we do, you don't always have to do the work yourself. I find watching videos is really useful, and I can see here that we have this list of videos, right? Let's have a look at a Chess 24 video, and we can see we have a banter blitz with Dominguez. And the great thing again about our system is you find YouTube videos in certain positions, right? You just put the position on the board and you press search and it finds the YouTube video. So we're just gonna watch 5 minutes or 3 minutes so we get a bit more information, maybe taking ideas. I'm going to shut up now of a YouTube video to give my brain a rest as well. So let's just do, oh, hang on a minute, wrong headphones. Let's just do that now. So we can go here and we can put this on. Got headphones all, what's going on with bloody headphones there? All over the shop. I've got headphone, I've got two sorts of headphones, but these headphones seems to have gone, how did that happen? Okay, let's press play, and I want to listen to this as well so I can learn a bit more. Go away, you stupid other headphones. And then we're going to play a bit of Blitz, I think. I'm going to try out this this thing. So let's do this. Okay, let's just, I'll make the video big.
Bishop c5. Rook b8, c3. And there's, yeah, this line also. Interesting line. I played it once. d6. Oh. Usually bishop takes d4 as white would like us. So I'll do this, and maybe now I can.
Okay, now one thing I've seen from that video,
you
can find the videos that are most relevant for you. He's playing that from the white side. I think something we'll have to we'll have to bring in the future is you have to be able to search by color. Might be quite a useful thing, because I'm really interested in this from the. I'm kind of interested on the black side, but maybe from the white side, you know, as well. I think I'm going to go back to Danny King, because you know, his game, and he has this. He has a Fabiano game. Okay, we've been looking at Fabiano, so let's just have this, and just to show how the YouTube video search again. You basically go to our board, and we can, you know, you can go to the start position. You put any position on the board, and we're going to go through the moves. And when you get a position, let's say bishop c4, you go to our YouTube search function. The orange dot shows you what's available. We go here, and if you want to search the position, you just press search, and this brings up all the authors, the YouTube channels who have done a video on this. And you can see that I've even done a video on Wesley So gets crushed in under 20 moves on this, which is quite funny. But I'm not learning this for now. I'm learning this bishop c5 line. I'm not going to go for the opening moves. This is the starting position, so I'm going to only search this position, and we're going to see what videos come up here in our YouTube search. And Danny King is okay. John Bartholomew is excellent as well. I'm just going to see what John Bartholomew's got. John Bartholomew is playing this from the white side. I think I want to see this Fabiano game, and I want to see a video of this. So let's just play the Fabiano game. And Danny King is a gentleman from England. I don't understand how he doesn't have more followers on YouTube as well. Let's see what he says about this game, and we'll just watch a little bit of this while I relax the mind.
Bishop c5. Now, an enormous number of games have been played in this variation over the past few years. It's a very forcing line, actually. Of course, the bishop takes a very aggressive stance. The problem is it can be hit back by the d pawn, so you know it's a trade-off. You put the bishop to a more aggressive square, but you lose time as well. a4 also is a little bit uncomfortable for black, because it means that white can take the open file. So d4, and this b pawn is now rather weak. And as black hasn't castled yet, then white has the time to attack this and actually take the pawn.
So this is the Mickey Adams line, if anyone's wondering.
Very well-known theory.
So if you're just wondering about this line, and I'm just using the video, this is one of the first lines we looked at. Remember, this was the line I told you that Mickey Adams played as black to beat Ho Yifang. We also remember that we've learned in this position already that black's idea is to pin white's knight with the bishop coming out, to take on f3, white takes with the pawn. This is one of our ideas. And then Sefer-Arman's idea was to bring the knight to d8, to e6, to f4, after knight h5, queen f6. And the other idea in the under 12 Boys World Championship was knight e7 to g6. So let's just see how that compares to what Danny's saying, because when you're watching videos, you've got to try to use what you've memorized as well, and that's what I'm trying to do, just to learn a little bit more. I'm not going to try and learn the whole opening at once. I'm just getting little tasters of the opening, and of course, you know, it takes a long time to master an opening. So let's go back to see how this game goes on.
And well, there are several ways to play this position with white. You could say that the main line is bishop c2. Let's have a quick look at that. So here, bishop c2 protects that pawn, but also, very importantly, steps away from the b file. And the main continuation is this. Black takes here. Remember, if queen takes, then black can take the d pawn. So you've got to recapture like this. So that damages white to kingside. And then after this, looks dangerous. Possible queen coming in here.
What I will say in answer to Ibs Shi, if you've got a question about any of the positions, I'm not going to do it now because this is something you can do. If you're on GChess, all you have to do to answer your own questions, you just put it on the board and use the resources. So you can literally go to that position you were wondering about, which I believe was it knight a3, something like this, castles. We looked at this before. Let's see if I can remember. And well, here you don't have a chance to stop this one. So if you're going to play h3, you have to play it now. And you can see here that this has been played. Well, you can put the engine on first of all if you want to get a quick answer, and the quick answer is that b4 seems to be a good move. Another answer, the yellow dot, will show you which of our resources has this position h3 in it. If it's got an, I say yellow dot, you can see it's got an orange dot there. If you click on the orange dot, then it will bring up that resource, and just that it's only got in one of our categories means it's a very rare move. But if we click on it there, you can see it's been played 3 times. And b4, well, we can put on the best players. Look who are the best players in this. Title Tuesday. I don't recognize any of these players, but let's have a look at the black win, and we can bring the black win to this board, and you can see here, okay, this guy's a very strong player. He played b4. This is the computer's move, and you can therefore work out the right ways to play. So you basically, I'm not going to do it now because we're watching Dan. I probably lost Danny King's video now. No, come back, Danny. Come back, Danny. But you get the idea that this is how you improve. But you do it at your own pace, right? You can do it at your own pace. You play around. You learn at your own pace. You're doing it here through me forcing it, but that's kind of how you do it at your own pace, right? Okay, well, you know what? I mean, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to go and watch a bit of Danny King. I'm going to have a little break. I need to get myself a cup of tea. Before I do go away, you know, I've just been getting a little bit of an introduction to this opening. I'm learning a little bit as I go along. It's quite hard to learn this and commentate on it at the same time. I'll be honest. You know, it'd be much easier if I was just being studious about it. That's my excuse anyway. But another thing I would like to say that you can do, and you have to give us 2 weeks to complete this, and what's going to be amazing. In 2 weeks' time, it's going to be phenomenal. But that's why I don't want to show you too much of this. But you can see on the left-hand side on GChess, you have an improve function. Now, this is basically a way to improve, and this is all going to change in 2 weeks. It's going to become a lot more phenomenal. If you want to check your games on chess.com or Lichess and check if you're making any errors in your openings, this is what this does. So let's say you're playing the London system. In the chess opening bit, you've just put in the white section. I'm going to put in only white. Actually, should we go London system? What else should we play? Let's put the London system in, or killer d4. Let's go killer d4. So I'm putting the opening I want to check in. I'm putting my chess handle in. I'm going to put my Lichess handle in, GingerGM. I'm just going to update this. I'm just going to show you what this does. You can do this with your own handle. You put your name in chess.com. You put your name in Lichess. You put your opening you want to pick that you're playing. Let's say, I don't know, you're trying to learn the French defense. You put this in, and then you press the search button, and this will find in your games. Maybe I'll do it with one of you guys. You can do this yourself, but it will find, I hope this works now because we're redoing this, it will find positions where in your blitz games you've made mistakes. So you can see study needed. Let's just have a look at this one. We press the board button and we can see that in a blitz game I had, look at my Lichess rating, 2752. Oh my words, can you believe that? I'm going to flip the board because I was white in this game. 2752. That's not a bad Lichess rating. 2800 coming up. But we can see in this position, if you own the GingerGM course, this is another tab, that in your blitz game, you can see there that I played, what did I play there? Let's go back to the improved bit. I played, we'll bring that up again because it has the arrows. So basically the red move, the move in red is the move that I played, but I should be playing E5 here. And you can see all the resources. We've got all the resources here. So you can improve your blitz games here. If you own the GingerGM course, you can even go straight to the time code in the GingerGM video. So here, look how young I look. Crazy. Let's just play what I should have done. So I played the wrong move in my blitz game. Let's see what I should have done very quickly. We're going to go E4. And if B5, we're going to go E5. This is often our way of playing this position. And the only way black can save a piece is by going H6. We go bishop to H4. And after G5, instead of going to the mass complications which arise after knight takes G5, I'm going to recommend the slightly off. Okay, well you get the idea, yeah? So you can even learn from your own blitz games as well with GChess. So that's just one more thing I'd like to throw in there. You can try out the improved section. But at the moment we're making some big changes to that. So there's lots and lots of things going on. And there's lots of stuff that you can help. We're bringing in some big changes in 2 weeks. Massive changes coming on. But again, I just wanted to have a little go over of GChess, and I wanted to use it a little bit to improve, and I thought I'd share with you some of my analysis on it. I didn't go too deeply into it. I might do this another time, but hopefully you got a little bit. I did say I was going to play some chess. I'm actually going to get a cup of tea now. But again, remember, the website that we're talking about is this website here. I've just put it in the chat. If you want to get the full thing, I'll show you the different levels of subscribership. So you have the prices here, and if you just want to have a look but you don't want to log your details, you don't get much access. For the basic free access, you have to register, and you get limited searches on what you've done. But for everything really, for the premium one, it's $9.99 a month. We have to charge. We are a business, but we're also trying to make enough money to keep it going and to develop more things. And we think for $9.99 for unlimited access to nearly everything, it's a very good tool to improve your openings. But we'll do more of this in the future, and that hopefully gives you a very good overview of GChess. Let's give someone a raid now. I think the next stream I do will go back to playing some crazy blitz. But I hope that was kind of useful for some of you. Now, who should we raid? Who should we give a little raid to? I like raiding some of the smaller streamers, if we can. Any suggestions? And that is your lesson of the day anyway. So good to see some of you still here. Who should we raid? Let's raid Li Fong, and I'll see you again soon. The next stream will be more crazy blitz, more random stuff, but I hope I'll try to do that tomorrow. But I hope some of you at least learned how to use GChess and you're interested in checking it out. Another thing I would like to add, all of you who go on to GChess, it's a great way to support what I do, streaming, YouTube videos. If you like my streaming and YouTube videos, I ask you to join up to GChess as a way to support me in what I'm trying to do in life, because that's what we're trying to develop at the moment. So it's a great way to support me and a great way to help yourself is GChess. Can you use fens? You can use fens. You can put fens into the board. It's even got table base. There's loads of other stuff we haven't quite shown yet. Table base is part of it. So if you get to an endgame position, then you can do it. You can see here you can paste fens into the position as well. But anyway, go and have a play around with it and give it a go. And we think it's cool, basically. Cheers, everyone. I might be doing Title Tuesday tomorrow. I might not be able to tomorrow, actually, unfortunately. But if not, we'll get a blitz session in soon. So, cheers. Have a good day, everyone. Bye for now.